Okay, so this is going to be a fast and furious demo because I have to be at the office in less than an hour. So I was just going to demonstrate how to use the Crop-A-Dile and the Sew Easy tool real quick. Just kind of showing how you can make a card really easy by using these two tools. This was set with the Crop-A-Dile and this was done with the Sew Easy tool. So I'll just show you real quick how I got to this point here. I took that sheet of cardstock like this and I trimmed it down on two different sections right here. And so then I took the Sew Easy tool and I didn't want to use the straight stitch. So you just twist and the head comes off. And I put the zigzag tool on. So it goes on the same way and twist. And then I wanted to make 2 rows, so I found 1 row and I kind of line it up on the grid and go as straight as I can visibly watch. Okay, and I made another row as well. I did it twice. This one I was just kind of playing with some different hole setters. You can maybe see it better on the back. So you can see it cuts all the way through that paper very, very well. I think you can see the light through the holes. As long as you use this We Are Memory Keepers piercing mat or some type of foam underneath it, it will cut all the way through one sheet of cardstock just fine. It's very, very simple to do. You just can't do it on a flat, hard surface. So I did that. Then I took my ink pad. This is the Distress Ink Vintage Photo. I've had this one for a really long time, so some fibers may fall off now and then. But so I distressed the edges, just like that, all the way around. Then I took my Crop-A-Dile. Oh, first I did my sewing. I just put a piece of embroidery floss on a needle here. And it's just like the regular embroidery floss that you can get for, I don't know, 80 cents or so at Walmart, 88 cents. And so I stitched it all the way up the side. And what I do is I try to make my cards as flat as possible. So on the back side, instead of tying a knot, I put down a strip of adhesive and I glue down the tails like that. And I try not to overlap the tails too much so I don't end up with a big huge knot. So that's how I got that up there using the piercing tool. So now I'm going to attach another one of these little We Are Memory Keepers snaps up on top of this flower here. So I'll show how to use the Crop-A-Dile. Now the Crop-A-Dile has various settings. If you look at the top here, it folds back and that's the 3/16 hole punch. So you put it this way and you can see that's the large hole. That's the 3/16 hole punch. Then there's a smaller one, which is the one I'm using, which is the 1/8. So then that's the 1/8. So I'm going to put this down. Hopefully I'm close enough to the camera for you. And I'm going to put a hole right in the middle of that little flower up here. Okay, so there's my hole. Does that very simply. Now the Crop-A-Dile, it will cut through tin, it will cut through leather. If you need to add a hole to a belt, it will cut through any belt that you can find out there. It cuts through very thick material with no more pressure on your hand. It just cuts through very smoothly. So then, I really liked this little snap made by We Are Memory Keepers, and it has a pretty jewel in the middle. So I thought I'd put that one up here. So I'm just going to punch it through the hole. And you see it fits very nicely right in that hole right there. Now the other nice thing is, so I'm going to go to my eyelet setter. So I'm going to flip my switch one more time. And you'll see it says top. So this is my top of whatever I'm using. If I'm using a wide eyelet or a narrow eyelet, a small eyelet, or one with like a gem like the one I'm using, or flat if it's a flat smooth. So since I'm using one with a gem, I think this is the gem setting. I hope this is the gem setting. I don't want to risk it, so I'm going to use flat. If one of you knows the setting for the gems, please let me know. And then the base can fluctuate between any of these bases. I'm going to try this one here because that one looks flat and wide, and that's kind of the effect that I'm going for. So I will put this on top of that base, Sorry, if I can find my bottom here. Here we go. Center it as best I can. And push down. Perfect. Okay, so now it is set, and I did not crack my jewel. That was my goal, not cracking my jewel in the center. So the Crop-A-Dile, it has all those settings. Again, I used the flathead setting on this one, and it is very well and secure in there. So I have my brad set, and I have the fibers all sewn on there. So what you can do is I cut, if you have an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper or cardstock, you can make 2 cards out of 1 piece of cardstock. Just cut it in half. So 8.5 by 5.5. Then fold it in half, and you have a perfectly sized, I think it's called an A2 card. And so then you can use some adhesive and put that down, and you can make like a get well soon sentiment in here. You can also mat another sheet of piece of cardstock in here, stamp on it, and journal for the inside of the card. Now this one I'm actually probably going to save for a mini album that I'm making out of the Mariposa papers, but that at least gives you an idea of how to use the Crop-A-Dile as well as the Sew Easy tool by We Are Memory Keepers, along with their eyelets and snaps. Just to show you, I don't know if I've shown this card already or not. This was a card that I made as well, and these are called gromlets, and these are the same thing. They're made by We Are Memory Keepers, and you can also attach them with this big bite. So what you do is you put them on there, and then it attaches on the back. I still need to cover up that little portion, but this was just a thank you card that I made, and it just flips open and flips open, and you can fit a ton of cards in here. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed the demonstrations, and I'll bring more later.